Hello there. You're watching and listening to another Scoutcast on www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. My name is Mark.
My name's John T.
My name's Andy.
And my name's Az.
Good evening, gentlemen. How do I find you on this fine night? I think Leicester are doing very well as we speak. They look like they're through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. City to follow some more. Big developments. Yeah, so how was the game week, everybody? It was hits galore, wasn't it, John T?
It was indeed. We all took lots of hits and some less, except for Az, because he had, we'll discuss a bit later, he wildcarded a little while ago. So his team was in fine fettle and he didn't need to take hits. But we all took hits. We all did really well. So we've got lots of bragging to do early on. And then we'll probably get all depressed by the end when we discover that we haven't quite got the teams we want for game week 29 and beyond. But we'll get some good bragging in, I hope.
Yeah, we'll see. Granville not with us tonight, but as stepping in with his wild card just played. So we're going to touch on wild cards later. There was a heated debate on the Scout site this week that went on and on and on, and lots of views there. And Az has already got his played. We were talking about the merits of that and when to play it later on. Lots to cover though. Kane injury. No Kane, no gain. We were talking last week about the template form, and I was adamant that that was it. You know, front three, Gabbiadini. It's going to be Lukaku. It's going to be Kane. Now, a week on, Kane's out of the equation. Lukaku's not signed his contract, and we're looking at a five-man midfield and might not look at Gabbiadini. So, Andy, you were right, I think.
No, I kind of agreed with you, but yeah, that's what I'm looking at now. Sticking to 3-5-2 and maybe forgetting Gabbiadini. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think the Kane injury has kind of screwed a lot of people's plans up, myself included, which I'll come on to in a sec when we go through our teams.
Yeah, actually, I was this close to taking out Aguero for Kane Saturday night. And the only reason I didn't, and I've got to confess this, is because I looked and Aguero was dropping in price. And I thought, well, that doesn't hurt me because I can absorb one drop. So I'll leave it. But had I not been able to absorb the drop, had I lost money on Aguero, I probably would have done it. Because I was thinking, well, what are the chances of him getting injured? He might not even start against Millwall. And my word, I was very, very fortunate. To
Sums up your season, Mark.
Well, just lucky all the way through. Just pure luck. Absolutely.
That's what Granville would say, so I'm trying to step in for him.
No, absolutely. Okay, we're going to talk about Coutinho as well. I got him in. That wasn't a good decision. He was dreadful on Sunday. We'll talk about him. Sanchez, is it time to go knocking for Sanchez already? We had doubts. We were talking about it last week. We're touching it again this week. But the Kane situation brings that back to the boil, I think. Now that is now a factor because we talk about five-man midfield. Surely Sanchez has to be part of that. Another player who has to be part of that, Josh King. All praise Josh King. Let's worship at the temple of Josh King after he did us proud, didn't he? All three of us, anyway. John, you must have been delighted.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, I mean, my transfers during the week. I said I'd already done it by the Scoutcast last week. Josh King in for Stanislas.
Did you? I don't remember that. And did you remember that?
And and there he was. And I got him in because he had a good couple of fixtures coming up. Amazing form. He was coming into that in amazing form. And I was swapping him for a player who's going to get 0 and will get 0 for many weeks to come, Stanislas. So easy decision to make. But yeah, he's fantastic. Looking forward to his next adventure.
Yeah, I mean, let's touch on this now. Josh King, essential, yes or no? Let's present the evidence. I know that, John T, you have been a big fan of Callum Wilson in the past. I have too. Always tried to get him in my team when Wilson was fit. What we've got with Josh King here is someone playing in Callum Wilson's role, taking his penalties, getting extra points for goals, extra points for clean sheets. Well, I don't get many of those. And he's cheaper than Callum Wilson's ever been. I don't see, even though the fixtures have turned against him, even though he hasn't got a double game week, it's difficult not to get him in, isn't it?
Well, no, I think it's very easy to not get him in because I mean, I got him in for a couple of fixtures, and I'm happy to kind of either convert him to fifth midfielder but you've got to look at the fixtures, and he's got Southampton away. Okay, yeah, that's okay, that's reasonable. But he's got Swansea coming up at home at the weekend, so that's the good one. Southampton away, okay, that's okay. Then he's got Liverpool away, so possibly he might nick a goal there. He's got Chelsea at home, and then Tottenham away. I mean, these are atrocious fixtures. So I couldn't say, get Josh King.
The only thing I would say is Bournemouth are pretty good for scoring goals.
Yeah.
They're rubbish, and they're going to probably lose the majority of those games. But
that's like,
as well.
You're talking kind of, I mean, you could hope that he'll get a return like he did at Everton. But really, what you're looking for those fixtures is consolation goal, really. I mean, Bournemouth, they're going to lose. They're going to concede. That's what they're doing. But they are attacking. I mean, I've always been admired having Bournemouth players as well. I've still got Charlie Daniels as well. I just like the way they play, it doesn't matter where they are in the league, they just go all out attack. So it is annoying clean sheet wise, but they will score. And Josh Keir's game, I would not call him essential though.
Yeah, I think
that would be massive.
No, I'm clickbaiting. I'm just
you're clickbaiting.
I think it's a compelling cocktail of ingredients he's presenting at the moment.
It's good value. Put it that way.
They've scored in their last 5 away games. I mean, then they're going to. I think they're going to score in most games. Chelsea at home might struggle in. They're going to score at home, and as I said, they've scored in the last 5 away. And if they score, he's surely got to be involved where it is at the moment. I just think he's got. I think it's difficult to get him in as bench fodder now. Before the hat-trick, I was like, well, I'm going to get him in and, I'll put him as my 5th mid and bench him. But that's going to be tough now, I think. He doesn't even need penalties. It was like he deliberately, I'll show you, I don't even need to score this. I'll put this one wide, then I'll score 3 from open play.
I was listening to the game. I was walking the dog, listening to the game. I said, right, I've got Josh King in. Fantastic. Let's have a listen. Penalty to Bournemouth.
Oh, yeah, loved it. I was up on my feet.
And I was like, and then he missed it. It was like, and no, it was worse because I had Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels would have got the assist.
Yes.
So I was counting those points going. I'm huffing, walking the dog, getting faster and more angry as I was. And then it was like just more goals kept coming in. And then he handed the penalty over, and I thought, oh, thank God he's handed the penalty away, because I've had so many penalty misses this season. I've had 2 Benteke ones. I had the Aguero one in the same week as a Benteke one. I had that Ibrahimovic one as well.
I didn't realise that.
And I've had Josh. So I've had 4 or 5 penalty misses.
Oh my word! If you were Granville, you'd be moaning about.
I don't think I've ever had more than 1 in a season. Yeah. But I've had 4 or 5 this season alone. And so, yeah, basically, whenever I've got a player who takes penalties and they hand it to another player, I'm like, oh, brilliant, thank the Lord.
Yeah, but Afobe, that was the worst penalty I've ever seen, I think.
It'll go back to Josh. But a lot of people were saying, a lot of Bournemouth fans as well, saying, look, Charlie Daniels is really good at taking penalties. Why not give it back to him? Well, I live in hope.
I said to Paul, he reckons that penalty was worse than Diana Ross's in the Super Bowl. Remember that one where I think her high heel came off. I didn't see Afobe's high heels come off, but I think he was wearing high heel shoes. But it was a shocker. So I think King's going to get him back now, because what I don't understand was he missed the first penalty, then he scored a great goal. And then when they won the second penalty, I thought, oh, he'll have it anyway, because he scored. His confidence will be up, and he didn't. He was like, don't fancy it.
He's good. He's a great player. I've had him before last season. I had him before as a cheap 5th mid. He did the same thing again. He keeps scoring like this.
Yeah, it's different now, though. He's definitely in, and he's definitely up front. So, as you're not tempted, you're not, you're coming around to the idea. You missed him in the wild card.
Yeah, I missed him in the wild card. It was a shame, and I saved a transfer as well, and I could have brought him in, but I didn't really consider him. I just thought I was looking too far ahead and trying to look towards those games, and his fixtures take a turn. I think the problem is with Kane injured now and Aguero, lots of people selling Aguero. There's a lot more funds, and he's an amazing option for the price. But now getting players who are like 7-8 million, they're kind of the priority. So getting in Eriksen, getting in Ali, getting in. Keeping Sterling and 7 to 8 million is quite a good bracket. So they're the players I'm going to be looking at rather than. Yeah,
but John T always says ignore the price. It's not the price that matters. If you look at his points, last 7 or 8 game weeks, he's outscored.
Yeah, but it's not just the price. It's not just the price. It's that you're getting players from better teams.
Yeah,
so you're paying 7-8 million for players playing for Tottenham and City.
You've got to look at the fixtures. You just got to look at the fixtures. That is not the fixture. There's not the fixture list of a player I want to be getting.
I'll tell you what, I made the point tonight. I made the point tonight in this match. We know. I said at this stage of the season, you can't look at the fixtures and put too much stock in them, because when you've got Bournemouth fighting for their lives, anything can happen. I think he's a great option. I think it's tough to ignore. And the trouble is, it causes a problem, because I was all ready to go 3 up front, and now I'm not so sure, because King suddenly gives us funds to take a look at Sanchez, and obviously there's the Kane injury. But anyway, let's talk about our game weeks in a bit more detail. Who won then? Who came top out of that? I took a 12-point hit, so it can't be me.
I had the highest game week rank, but Jonty scored the most points.
Okay, well, let's start with Jonty then. Go on, tell us what happened.
So I got 64, -8, took 2 hits, managed to field a full 11 after Chris Brunt eased himself onto the pitch finally. King in for Stanislas, Lukaku in for Ibrahimovic. I captained Lukaku, fan. So probably the best 8 points I've spent for some time.
You were late to the Lukaku party, weren't you?
Well, I had it. No, I just took a break from the Lukaku party.
Oh, you got him out for a break.
I just nipped out for a break and then popped back in again, just in time. as well. And I took a luxury move of Sterling to Coutinho, which didn't work out. So if I hadn't done that, I'd have. But I've got a couple of points more. But I didn't mind.
I mean, despite the hit success, you're happy with that all?
Well, I'm happy, because people had asked, would I miss out because I planned for this blank game week? And I had a lot of my moves were around getting those players. So I had that full 11. So I was quite happy. Some of them scored, some of them didn't, but that's what you get. But there was other people in some of my mini leagues who were fielding maybe 6 or 7. And certainly if they didn't have Josh King, then they were coming nowhere really, even with Lukaku.
Yeah, that's fine. We all captained Lukaku, did we? Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. We all played safe there. I was tempted, but in the end, it paid off, didn't it? Liverpool let us down badly. Andy, your game week, what happened?
Yeah, so I got 71 points, but I took a 16-point hit, so it was like 55 in total.
Oh, is that the biggest hit you've ever taken?
Yeah, I certainly haven't taken a -20. I may have done a -16 before, but usually like -12 will probably be the highest I go. I'll tell you how it happened. So I said last week I was going to do an 8-point hit, so that was Lukaku back in, Coleman in, because I thought he was a long-term transfer, and then Coutinho for one of the City mids. So I went Sané, and because I took Sané out, and then I realised I needed to get rid of Phillips. Antonio was the one that I wanted. So I didn't mind taking an extra hit because I fully bought into it's only 2 points thing. So I wanted Antonio, but because I got rid of Sané and not Sterling, I couldn't afford it. So then it was down to Josh King or Lanzini, and I just thought I'd just go for the cheaper guy. So I got quite lucky getting King, to be honest, because if I could have afforded Antonio, I would have been seriously tempted, because I thought, West Ham had goals in them against Bournemouth. And then someone messaged me and they were like, would you not do Aguero to Carroll as well? And I thought, I'm going to do Aguero to Kane next week. That's my plan. So it's a 2-point risk, essentially, to get Carroll in. If he scores, I'm up. And anything else is an added bonus. And then I tweeted on Saturday saying, that's my plan. The only issue will be if Kane gets injured. So now I don't have Aguero.
I saw that.
And I can't get Kane. I'm not too bothered. We'll come on to later who I'm thinking.
Is Twitter blaming you for the injury yet? Is that?
They are, yeah, apparently, yeah. Because
that's fair enough.
But that's kind of that was what my thought process was, that all hits were 2 points, and I wanted to take the risk. And I must say, probably more satisfying for me than Josh King was Alfie Mawson getting on the end of a
that was beautiful.
Like last minute, I think it was as well. I thought there was no points from that game for Siggy or Mawson, and then up he steps. That was so good. I love that guy. It's 2 goals for me now.
4 goals in 9. What's going on with him?
Is this Scott Dan? This is Scott Dan.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. I tell you, I mean, you say all hits are worth it. I had a terrible start to the game because my last transfer was Funes Mori.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh dear me. So I made 2 on the Friday night, and then I woke up Saturday. Well, I'm definitely doing King, but I'm going to leave it. Trying to throw Tim off the scent by thinking, he's only done 2 transfers. So I made the third one Saturday morning. Then the fourth one, which was Funes Mori, and I made with like 10 minutes to go. Oh, dear me. And then he obviously didn't turn up, did he? So my game week started with Funes Mori on the bench and King missing an early penalty. I was -2. Oh, it was all going wrong. It was collapsing around my ears, but it obviously got a lot better. And I did all right. I got 51, which I was happy with, thanks to King. But Funes Mori was annoying, but not as annoying as Baines owners. I do feel sorry for them because that's all the blows they suffered going Baines over Coleman, and he goes and gets subbed at half time. Shocker.
But I don't know. I mean, as someone who went for Johnny Evans over Macaulay, it's just desserts basically. It's the wrong move. We all knew Coleman was better than Baines. We all knew Macaulay.
Well, we knew about 6 to 8 weeks ago, but 10, 12 weeks ago, we were still like.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the people have been getting anyone who's got Baines in the last.
It was when their fixtures turned, wasn't it? It was the fixtures turned. They were both kind of even, and they thought, Baines, we can nostalgic transfer, and then it backfired.
Yeah, I mean, it was becoming evident after about a week within that run that it was Coleman, and so I mean, I say just as, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean that in a way. It's a 50-50 decision that didn't go right, and I say that from the experience of missing out on all those Gareth Macaulay goals.
Yeah, but if you hadn't have got Johnny Evans, you wouldn't have had the joy of that freakish goal where Chris Rudd took the corner and Johnny Evans.
I'm going to get a T-shirt. I was there for that Johnny Evans goal.
I want to start correcting these mistakes though. Like I knew Baines was the wrong transfer, and I could have just taken him out, even if it was for a -4 for Coleman. Caught all the price rises, got all of his points. We all knew that Coleman was going to outscore Baines by 4 points.
No one ever wants to make that transfer,
but no one wants to do it, do they? But
No.
it's the right. It would have been the right move, and we all knew it. But no one wants to do it. It's a strange mentality.
Yeah,
people I play with in my mini leagues, like university friends, they would have done that without even thinking about it.
Would they?
Yeah,
it's a different mindset.
It's a different mindset. Yeah,
we're too rigid, aren't we? We're too
Way
scared
too rigid.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be like that this season, but I guess we are all the time. It's difficult. Maybe the longer you play the game, the more
I think so.
More rigid you become in some of the rules. It's certainly true. It's certainly true, I think. Okay, and as your game week then, this is with the wild card active. So
I played the wild card a few weeks ago. I played it.
Did you? Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought you played it.
I played it 27. It was after the ScoutCast actually I did last because John T ppointed out all the flaws in my team.
Oh, don't listen to him.
I know, and I was like, he's right. I've got a pretty bad team for this. And then the Man City double got announced, and I was like, I can't go into this week with this team. So yeah, I played the wild card, and I mean it's been brilliant. I'll talk about it a bit later.
Okay.
But I saved the transfer, so I didn't make any transfers for the blank. I got 55 points. Got 2 transfers going into the next game week, which I'm happy with. I was very close to bringing in Wijnaldum because his home form was so strong, but I didn't. But it's not too bad. I'd rather have the free transfer than the 2 points I would have gained bringing him in. So yeah, I was quite happy. I lost my double Hull clean sheet thanks to I saw because Hull I had so many points from Jakupovic and Maguire, and then Swansea scored, and I thought,
yeah.
And then it was Mawson and Sigurdsson who I had as well. So it was the perfect goal.
A bittersweet end.
It was.
Woody Allen conclusion there. Lovely.
It was. Yeah.
It's different. That was a telling goal. Yeah, a lot of points swung at that point.
Yeah,
I think
it was. Yeah, it was.
It
was
did
nice.
look like Jakupovic was going to get the clean sheet for an army of FBL managers, and Mawson popped up. Another Sigurdsson assist. What was it? 8 returns in 9 or something now for him? Ridiculous. Rough and smooth, Jaunty. Let's hear some stories from the community. Go on.
So yes, wildcards. PDM. He wildcarded, and it was a cracker. He got 72 points from it. No hits, obviously. Wildcards brought in King, Sigurdsson, Antonio, Lukaku, who captained, and Coleman. I mean, you can forget the rest. That's just 72 points. Brilliant move. Creedy got Barnes in as a make weight in a 3-5-2. Isn't that great?
Wonderful move. I bet he didn't expect an early goal from him, did he?
So he's possibly thinking about going 3-4-3 if Barnes is going to keep up this good run of form I think he's in. So some roughs though. Dan Mann, he took a 12-point hit and he got 3 points back. So he didn't 3 points. Robertson, Coutinho and Orenti in for Amat, Phillips and Aguero.
They're good moves as well. They made sense.
Good moves, but it just shows you those 50-50 moves again, isn't it? It's like you've got to get those 50-50. So Llorente, instead of Sigurdsson, I'm not sure if he has Sigurdsson as well. Coutinho in, but not, I don't know, maybe Josh King or whatever. And then Robertson, but maybe Mawson, would have been the kind of player you'd be factoring in for that cheap defender.
Well, that Captain Hindsight, it's very easy to say.
But, I think
they're all logical. Look at that. He was hurt by Funes Mori, Brunt, and Snodgrass.
And this is why I do feel for him, because lots of long-term planning had gone on, and that should be rewarded, and it wasn't. So Funes Mori, Brunt, and Snodgrass he'd got in prior for this game week, and they all did very little as well. And I hope that Dan Mann has a really great game week next, or at least some, because he's clearly a good manager. He's been, he's planned for this, and it just didn't go that way. And as someone who's experienced that kind of luck over the season, he's due. Dan Mann is due, and then Don Blaster. He took an 8-point hit to bring in Baines, Coutinho and Llorente. And once more, he captained Mane. Once again, on paper, great moves. Mane was looking good. Home form against Burnley. Didn't work out.
It's that Baines decision, though. I mean, that's the only one he'd be beating himself up about. I don't think you can blame him about Coutinho and Llorente.
No, Coutinho and Llorente.
If you don't have Lukaku, if you're going for differential, Mane was the one, wasn't he? But Liverpool proved it, didn't they? We just can't rely on them. They were just dreadful, absolutely dreadful, and they got away with it. They managed. It was a They won ugly, as Jurgen Klopp said, and he certainly did that. So let's talk about Coutinho now, because I was all set on him, and the stats, didn't they, John? The stats pointed to it.
He was top of the goals imminent. I couldn't believe it. The goals imminent table was turned its back on him. It was right at the top there, and each game week before he was putting in those stats, and then they just disappeared. So it wasn't like he was unlucky. He was really going for it. It was awful. He barely got near goal.
The Coutinho of last year, isn't it? That's what he used to do. He always used to be top of the goals imminent last year.
And I know there's this thing with the Liverpool don't perform so well against teams that don't give them the space, and they defend and don't allow their attackers to have that space to attack. But I thought there were other players who looked much more threatening for Liverpool, Wijnaldum included. But Mane didn't disappoint me as such. I didn't look at Mane and think, oh my God, what an awful player, what have I done? But I did look at Coutinho and think, oh dear, that is bad. And what's more, I believe he came off at 59 minutes, 59 seconds.
He did.
And I can't remember who it was, but someone on Fantasy Football Scout pointed out that if he'd come off a little bit slower.
Yeah, I didn't realise. I always thought, I don't know what I thought. I presumed that when the whistle blew and the referee acknowledged, okay, substitution, I thought that was the minute the player went off. But it is apparently when the player crosses the line, which, when you think about it, we could have an instance where someone's just like, wasting time and just goes over. It's just crazy.
I know the Stoke players are really keen on their fantasy Premier League.
Yeah,
they're a very competitive league, and I was wondering. I mean, I know Peter Crouch, I believe, is top of there. But so if a player was coming off that's in his team,
you have to take Pigeon steps,
and he's been taken off. I can see Crouch just holding on to. Oh, just hang on a second, mate.
Come here.
Hang on a second, Johnny Walters. Just hang on there. Yep, you can go off now. Got my points.
That was painful, though. I mean, to be honest, it was kind of typical of Coutinho's performance that he went off on 59 and got us 1 point and not 2. It's almost like he was embarrassed because I'm not even deserving of 2 points.
Imagine if that had been the defender.
Well, it's going to happen, isn't it, one day?
Yeah, it will.
Coutinho, Andy, tell us about Coutinho. What are your thoughts on him? Because you got him in as well. What are we going to do now?
Yeah, so I'm looking at getting rid, but I don't think you necessarily need to rush into getting rid, because although it sounds cliche, but Liverpool have done well against the bigger teams. So I'm fully, especially if Firmino is back as well. I think Origi was probably didn't help too much because he liked to run into the channels and stuff. I think when Firmino plays, he tends to stay more central and let the other two kind of run in behind. But yeah, I think he could do well against Man City, and I think Bournemouth are coming up as well. That's a game that's probably got goals in it. The Everton game, I'm not too sure what to make of that. But yeah, I don't think you need, especially if you just got him in, I don't think you need to start panicking that he's an awful purchase. Liverpool on the whole weren't great. Like Johnny said, Mane and Wijnaldum probably did play better. But yeah, I wouldn't be in a huge rush to get rid, but on the flip side of that, I am probably going to get rid. Just because I think there's other players that I want instead, not because I think he's necessarily a bad pick.
Yeah, fair enough. We've got some questions on this though, John, haven't we? Hack is one.
Yeah. I mean, the fantasy freak asks, simply, is it worth hanging on to Coutinho and Hackchak? He asked, I mean, this is pertinent for myself and many others, I'd imagine, especially if you already have Mane as well. So the double up, is it worth that? And also he points out that Coutinho is going to be jetting off for the international break as well over to South America. We assume he'll get selected for the Brazil squad again. He's played very well for them, so I can't see him not. So yeah, I looked at it. It's basically whether your glass is half full or half empty. There's two very strong arguments. There's a strong argument on either side for getting rid and keeping. So Coutinho's got 5 goals in 6 games against City. He loves scoring against them. And Liverpool do have a great track record against the top teams. So, they've beaten Arsenal away. They've drawn away to Tottenham. They beat pre-3-4-3 Chelsea early on in the season. So they've beaten City at home and they've beaten Spurs at home. So home or away, they are pummeling the big sides here. So that's in the flavour. And plus, Man City are poor after European games. So they're playing this week in Europe. There's a good article on the site, community article by Crichton, one of our writers, which looks at the poor form of Manchester City and Manchester United after they played in Europe. So there's lots in Coutinho's favour. But City have 4 clean sheets in the last 5. Liverpool haven't kept a clean sheet since game week 19. So you look at the immediate form and the immediate form of Coutinho, the immediate form of players like Sterling and Aguero, suddenly it doesn't look so good. I'm undecided. As I said, I've gone through those arguments there, and I think both are really sound arguments. One's great for keeping him, one's great for ditching him. I can't decide.
What do you think about benching him and playing Andy Carroll instead? Because that's what I might do. That's basically the dilemma I've got. I've got Andy Carroll versus Leicester, who obviously have played tonight and might be a bit tired. Or I play Coutinho at City. It's a tough decision, but at the moment I am favouring playing the big man because I just think there's something wrong with him, Coutinho. I just don't know what's going on. He's got to be affected by that injury in some way. That's the only explanation for the dip in form, because he looked like a world beater 8-10 weeks ago, and he was going to be an essential at that point almost for his price. There's that word again, but I don't know. Something is affecting him. Surely,
there's got to be a reason we bought him in, right? Because last week we were saying the stats are really good. He's actually looking like he's playing okay. It's just it's kind of one game against Burnley, and now suddenly we're looking to not even play him.
I don't know if it is. I mean, I got him in because I thought I needed 2 Liverpool players, and I thought Coutinho was the best option, and Firmino was a doubt. So there wasn't really much choice there. I know I didn't get him in thinking it'd be long term, but I didn't think it would be this short term.
I mean, he did score. He did score 2 weeks ago. He got the goal
at Leicester, and he looked good.
Against Leicester, yeah.
But
I had Firmino then, and I was cursing not having Coutinho, and then next week I was cursing not having. It just changes. They're such an unpredictable team, aren't they, Liverpool? You've got to just get one. If you've got Coutinho and you've only got Coutinho, I think you just stick with him. If you've got Coutinho and Mane, then you consider losing him for someone else.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue I've got. Do I play 2 Liverpool midfielders at City, or do I give Carroll the run out and hope he does something? Don't know. It's a difficult one. I think we're going to get Ridlow, aren't we, eventually? Because I think having 2 Liverpool mids is too much of a luxury. I think, and there is more choice now, isn't there, Johnson?
Yeah, and I think if you got Mane as well, I think that's ideal. I mean, there is. Well, we're going to talk about Spurs a bit later, but if I'm looking at players like Eriksen and Ali, and I'm looking at Coutinho, to me, those Spurs fellas look much better at the moment. They got the form, the fixtures, but we'll talk about Spurs a bit later. But as you said, there are other options, and Coutinho is now moved down. Mane, I still like Mane. I'm still going to keep him though.
I mean, I got Coutinho in. I got Coutinho in the thought, well, if I get Mane and Coutinho in, I can then make up my mind which one to get rid of. It was like your old tactic, John. You like getting 2 of the same team, then you can make a choice. And
that's what I've done now.
Yeah, he's kind of made it easy for us. Sorry, as you were saying.
No, I was just agreeing.
Okay, fair enough. But let's talk about a midfielder which is causing issues now for us, because we're all going to want him at some point. We know this. We're going to know these double game weeks are going to arrive, and we're all going to go shopping for Sanchez. But I guess the question is now, with Kane injured, Coutinho perhaps going out of our teams, do we go in early? Got some questions on this, John?
Yeah, well, hat jack again. To Sanchez or not to Sanchez, he's the highest player in the game. Should be a no-brainer. No, good point there. And Sleep Talk points out that Arsenal do have 2 double game weeks to come. So one will be double game week 37, we assume, and one will be another one. So yes, that would be good. Looking at for me, I'm just looking at the fixtures really. You've got West Brom away. I do like Sanchez for that very much. West Brom are on their holidays already, really early this year, and then they got City away. That's tough. And then look at that run: West Ham at home, Crystal Palace away, Middlesbrough away. That's Sanchez territory. So yeah, if I don't get him in this week, I think I'll be looking at getting him in game week 31. And looking at the stats as well, looking at the underlying stats, well, he's winning there as well. I mean, I tried to sort on everything last 4 matches: shots on target, shots inside the box, goal attempts, everything. Well, he is the best Arsenal asset.
I tried to build a case for Walcott and couldn't.
You can't.
It's impossible.
The only case for getting other players is cost, because Sanchez is the best for Arsenal.
Andy, I mean, we don't have to research Sanchez, do we? We don't have to look at the stats. We know we want him. It's just a question of when. So what's your thinking on it right now? Are you looking straight away?
Yeah, see, last week I said I was going to wait till 31, but I didn't realise how easily I'd be able to get him back this week. So now I'm quite tempted, especially like Johnny said, West Brom just aren't looking very good right now. I don't think the Man City fixture is that good for him. But yeah, I'm looking to get him. That would be my Coutinho transfer if I make it this week. It'll probably be for Sanchez. The only some people are concerned that he's going to get rotated. I'm not concerned with that at all. I think he's going to keep playing. I suppose the one kind of thing to think about is where he's going to play, because obviously in the last game in was it FA Cup? I think FA Cup. No, Europe.
Champions League and FA Cup.
Yeah. Giroud played up front, and obviously he's on the wing. He wasn't scoring as well from the wing, but he wasn't blanking that often. I checked, there's only like 2 blanks in the last 14 Premier League games for him. And that includes the last game where he came off the bench and straight away impacted the game, got an assist. So I think I want him back, and he's definitely going to be one I want in for the double game weeks. I've got my wild card in my pocket, so I'm not too worried about that. But depending on when I use that, it might be worthwhile stacking up on a couple of players now. And Sanchez is like #1 target for double game week. So yeah, I'm considering getting him back this week.
What about you? Where is he on your list at the moment?
I've got 2 big problems with him, and I mean, it's all in the news. His attitude is, I worry about it. He looks stroppy. He doesn't look right. I looked at his statistics about his running and things, and they're all down. And he doesn't look like the same. I mean, he's still going to score, but he doesn't look like the same player he was in previous seasons or the beginning of the season. And I worry about Wenger as well, because I just think he's gone, at the end of the year. I think this is his last season. And you look at him in interviews, you look at him after match, he just looks like a broken, given up man. And I just think he's not inspiring the team. And I think Arsenal are just going to struggle to the end of the season. And I think Sanchez doesn't look right. That said, it's Sanchez, isn't it? So you can't completely discount him, and I am looking to get him in. But it would be more difficult for me than for Andy. I'd have to take a hit even with my 2 frees, because I've got other sort of fires I need to put out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Az. I think you raised some brilliant points, and I do think there's clearly something wrong at Arsenal, behind the scenes.
It's been coming for a while, like in lots of years, crashing out of the last 16 every year, just about getting the top 4. The cycle they seem to be in, but it's really coming to a head now, and their players worry me, getting them in from now.
And the thing is, we can't find this on a chart. We can't. It's not on the aggro imminent table. Doesn't exist. It's very very difficult to plot how important this could be in the running and how it could affect Sanchez and Arsenal. But we know there's something going on. We know there's some unrest, and it remains to be seen whether Sanchez is going to use that in a positive way and get angry and start scoring lots of goals, or if his head's going to drop and he's going to start getting taken off.
He's not a player who wants to, fight for top 4. He's a player who wants to fight for the title, and it's going to affect him. And his head, and I tell you, his agent's going to be on the phone to clubs, and they're all going to be showing an interest in him, and he's,
but you could argue that then he would not want to show this. He'd want to show his positive side and not show an attitude, because But then again, he's Sanchez.
Do they care though? Like Juventus, if he doesn't score a goal from now to the end of the season, Juventus will still put in a 40-50 million pound bid for him.
John,
more likely to get accepted as well.
Are you concerned by these issues?
I am. I'm not. I think with him, he's very committed to winning, and yes, he will get angry with his other teammates. I think he was benched. I was reading that he was benched against Liverpool because he had an incident in training. So it was a kind of ticking off move. But he's going to need him to play. But Arsenal do this every season, as I said, with the cycle. They crash out of Europe, and then the final few game weeks of the season, they go absolutely mad. They really batter teams. We've seen it lots of times before. My instinct is to wait. I think I do like him for the West Brom, but because he's got that City fixture, I think you have to look at it over 2 fixtures. I think, what would I get from Sanchez over those 2 fixtures? Well, I might get a goal or assist against City. I might, but probably won't. And then I don't know what I get from West Brom. But with players like Dele Alli, with Christian Eriksen, with Hazard as well, and with these players that you've got much more potential, and they're playing in teams that are cohesive and playing well, attacking well together, and seem happy. You look at the interviews afterwards as well. You look at Dele Alli or Christian Eriksen being interviewed, and they're happy as you like. That's good to see. That helps. Like to see. I don't know. As you said, it's tough to do because we don't know what's going on inside their heads, but. He is a winner.
I mean, ideally, we watched the West Brom game and we watched the City game, and then ahead of 31, we then make a decision on Sanchez. Yeah. But It is tempted to go in early because we know we're going to want him for the double game week anyway, probably, unless Arsenal are absolutely disastrous up to that point. And obviously with the Kane money now flashing around, it's all on, isn't it? So
he's more popular than I thought he was going to be. I did a little poll on Twitter just to see who people were prioritising, and Sanchez came. It was Sanchez, Hazard, Ali, Ericsson, and another Liverpool mid. And Sanchez ran away with it. He got about 60% of the votes. I thought that was quite surprising because of the things Jonty said, with the other teams looking happier and more cohesive. Like you said, they're the players that I would personally prioritise over Sanchez. But you've got to take that into account. That a lot of people are going to be bringing him in. So does that play on your mind a bit?
And the thing is, if he does anything at West Brom, his price is going to shoot, and we know we're going to need him. So if you get in now, you're obviously getting him at a lower value than you're going to need to pay when the double game weeks get confirmed. It's a tricky one, but it's a lot of money to commit to a player whose head might not be right, and that's an unknown factor. We're only going to know by watching him, the eye test, as people now call it. We're only going to know then. We can't tell that from charts and stats. So it's difficult, very, very difficult. Okay, let's talk about strikers because Harry Kane has given us another problem. Lots of questions on this, Jonty.
Yeah, so Harry Kane, aptly named best replacement for Kane. Nola won best Kane replacement. Aguero or Costa. Angry John, is Vardy an option? Oh, there's a player. And Lego Mane, is Aguero a fixture-proof explosive asset or to be dumped to free up funds? So there's some of us, I suppose there's going to be some people with Kane and Aguero, lots of money tied up there. We're talking about all these wonderful midfielders as well. And then Sutter, I like this one. Troy Deeney, a good shout. Kane replacement? Well, he's got the fixtures. He's got the form. I just wanted to say, you mentioned, Mark, that you almost transferred him in. I got into a bit of trouble on Twitter over the weekend. Myself and another fantasy football scout user, we were mocking the people that had got on the early transfer because it's a bit of a bugbear around the transfer system this season. Players' prices going up and down because basically people are doing stupid moves. Getting a player in the night before they played Millwall is a stupid move, I would say. So I got in trouble for that. I was too harsh apparently. But 34,000 people drafted Kane in between Saturday's deadline and his injury. Get this, 4,000 transferred him in after he'd been injured, after he hobbled off. So what? I don't understand. That's to me. I'm not going to mince words. That's just plain stupid. But now 80,000 people have transferred him out. So his ownership has now just dipped below the 20% mark.
I mean, the thing is, I was on the verge of doing it myself, but I mean, obviously, I talked myself out of it. But I had to give myself a bit of a pep talk. But I could see why it would happen because the market is so volatile. And
but people are cheering 0.1 price rise as if it's a goal. I got a 0.1 price rise on Kane. Look at me. No, I'm not going to look at you because you're stupid. What?
You're going to get in trouble again, Jonty.
Yeah, but it is, but the problem is it puts the prices up and down for everyone else. So we can't get the players in when we sensibly want to because loads of people are getting them in just before they're getting kicked to death by Millwall.
Yeah, but I can see why it's happened this year because you don't know. You look at the market and go, if Aguero goes down and Kane goes up, maybe I can't afford to get Sanchez, and that suddenly becomes a more significant thing, doesn't it?
I think previous seasons we've had a moment like that early on. Aguero game week 7 or 8 a couple of seasons ago. Remember, lots of people got him in after a big points haul, went off to South America, got injured. Oh dear, they got burnt by that, and they learned, so they didn't make those moves again. But this season, early transfers have been paying off time and time again. And the more patient players have been looking on thinking, how is this happening? How are these players being injury free? It's finally happened. So the penny has finally dropped. If you make these early transfers, you take a considerable amount of risk with that. And I'm not pleased that Kane got injured, but I hope that people learn from that and for the rest of the season we'll stop messing with the prices.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, no, I don't think you can foresee an injury. I was 50-50 whether he'd even start because I thought, well, they're going for the title, they're still in it, and are they going to play him in that? He's playing every game. He wants to play every game, and he's a fit boy, isn't he? So you expect him to come through that game unscathed anyway. But he's got this weakness with the ankle. It's just unfortunate that it was the ankle that went. But I don't know. It's the way this season has gone. Like you say, when you see early people who make transfers early, and I've been one of them. I've been really quite aggressive, and I've got away with it, and it's benefited me. I think one of the reasons, probably 25% of my success this season, has been because I've been aggressive and made transfers early, gambled. Particularly when I've got 2 transfers, I go straight in with one straight away. Don't even think about it because I've got the second to repair it. And I think it's a policy that has worked this season because a lot of people are making early transfers and driving prices up. And people who wait till Friday have been missing out, I think, or not straight away, but 2 or 3 weeks time, they go, oh, I can't do what I need now by 0-1. Then they go, if only I'd have got this player in earlier. I think that even now, I mean, I've been aggressive and I get caught out and go, oh, I wish I'd have made that one earlier. Then I'd had the 0-1 now to do this. So it's been one of those seasons. So I can understand it. But yes, I think this is the first time it's really hurt people.
It's the cheering of price rise. You see it when the price rises come in the early hours, and then the next day, I got it, yeah, ooh, and you just think, you haven't got anything.
I think at the start of the season, it's nice to get the price rise, isn't it? But now we're reaching a point where your value's not going to go up that much, from now until the end of the season. You wouldn't have thought like chasing 0.1 and 0.2 price rises isn't as useful as it used to be. So I'm surprised that people still were making those early transfers.
The only thing that it affects me is if I know like I want Sanchez and I'm going to be 0-1 short, and then I'm mindful. And that's the kind of scenario I think that maybe people are in. Andy, what's your view on this? Have you been making early transfers, or have you been trying to shy away from it?
No, I've mainly been waiting, to be honest, and it has been detrimental. There's been quite a few times where I've not been able to afford something, and my team value's just taken a hit. But I mean, for this one particular week, I do think it was a bit. I do agree with Johnny. Like getting Kane in before a match, like the next day, does seem a bit crazy. But in general, I don't have a problem with early pricing, early transfers to get the price rise. It's a strategy you can take, and it will burn you every now and again. But if it doesn't, then your quid's in really. And I wish I'd done a few more early ones. There's been a few times where I've known exactly what transfer I've got to do. There's no matches, and I'm still waiting just in case. And there's really been no need for it. It was even the same with Lukaku last week. Like Ibra was suspended, Lukaku was 100% come back in. There was no games, and I still waited, and I lost like another 0.1 million. So we'll see. I think when I'm really going to see that is the double game weeks, because there's so many big teams in those double game weeks that there's not going to be as many like cheaper options that we really want. So I'll see how prices affect me then. But yeah, I think the plan will be next season to do a few more early ones, but I do like waiting.
Anyway, let's get back to Kane replacements. I mean, Costa's put forward, and Costa's been the most popular target. Now, that surprises me because very consistent, obviously, but still only 3 double-figure scores, and 12 being his highest. So he's not a like for like, is he, Jonty? That is Costa the game, not like.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, as I was doing the notes earlier, it was 58,000 transfers in for Costa, and Lukaku 43,000 in. So you can see where the Kane money's going. In fact, FPL, the official FPL Twitter feed, actually did post where the Kane money was going exactly there. Lukaku and Costa. As you said, he's not explosive, but he is a good performer. He's a simple, nice, easy move as well. If you haven't got Lukaku already, that's an even better move. So there, but I think people should be looking at the fixtures and form basic stuff again. Really, I mean, I think they are. I mean, Chelsea's fixtures are pretty good. Really, they got Stoke away, then they got Palace at home. City at home, well, you never know how that's going to go. And then Bournemouth away, well, that's pretty good. So Chelsea, there's sound moves there. And with Everton as well, we know they've got Hull at home this weekend. And then they've got, a couple of tricky matches, Liverpool and Manchester United away. And then Leicester at home and Burnley at home. So, as a collective over 5 matches, Lukaku's a sound player to get in. I don't know. I mean, it's at a crossroads. I don't have Kane. I've got Aguero. I had planned to get Kane in. I'm not now, obviously, so I'm going to keep Aguero because I'm looking around at the options. And as you said, I mean, I know you often turn your nose up at Costa, and perhaps rightly so. If you're looking, what are we down to now? 9 game weeks left, is it? I'm losing track. 9 or 10 game weeks left. If you want a player that's going to get you between 6 and 9 points every week, then Costa's your man. But I think part of me wants to get explosive players in, and I don't think Costa quite fits that bill. No,
I mean, he's only scored 2 goals in 1 match this season. I think at Swansea. Aguero, like we got him in for the double game week. Suddenly, it's lovely convenient. I look at him in my team now, and I'm quite happy with that because, in the light of Kane's injury, he probably for me is the best short-term option. because I don't like Costa. Ibrahimovic is banned at the moment, and Gabbiadini, his time probably is coming up in a couple of weeks. So how do we fit on Aguero? Az, have you got Aguero in the team?
I've got Aguero, yeah, and what I like about him, in complete opposite, well, maybe not the complete opposite of Sanchez, but he's stepping up, isn't he? Like, he's trying to prove to Pep that he's his man, and he wants to stay. It's obvious he loves City, and he wants to stay there. God knows why, but yeah, it's something about him. He's running more. His stats are actually. I had to look at his stats this season compared to last season, and the only thing that's looks notably different is his goal conversion. His shots are kind of the same. His penalty area touch is the same. So he's still the same Aguero. He's just not scoring the chances, which is the key bit. But if he can add that back into his game, he's going to be like the Aguero of old. And I don't see how Pep can drop him because he's doing everything he wants. So I'm more than happy to keep him for a bit. I'll see him out.
Yeah, and that Liverpool fixture could be good. I mean, either 0-0, it's going to be 4-3 to somebody, isn't it? Andy, your views on Aguero? I mean, it does look nice all of a sudden, doesn't it? He was a player we thought, we'll get him in, he's going to be disposable, Kane's coming in, but it's not a bad plan B, is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do regret, I'm in kind of two minds about him because I've already got him rid, but I originally looked at him and thought, if I have to keep him for Liverpool, then I'm perfectly happy with that. And then obviously Kane did so well, I thought that's just a guaranteed transfer. Now I'm in two minds. I kind of wish I still had him because he probably is one of the better options over the next couple of weeks. But now I've got him rid, I'm also kind of happy that I don't have to make that decision now. But talking of players getting, so Costa, I don't think that's surprising. I think he's probably the most obvious one to get in. He's a very easy transfer, like Johnny said. The one I'm looking at is Jamie Vardy, West Ham away and then Stoke and Sunderland at home. I watched that Sevilla match today. It was a champion. I don't know if potentially Champions League quarterfinal is quite the same hunger as West Ham away, but in the Premier League. But he was all over the place. Like, he was running for every single ball. He was hungry again, and I was really impressed with Leicester. Mahrez was okay. He's probably the worst player on the pitch, actually.
I forgot how quick Vardy was. Like tonight, he's just gone, isn't he? They couldn't deal with him.
So I just think they're doing better now. Obviously Ranieri's gone. They got some nice fixtures. We talk about explosive. He's got double-figure hauls in him, I think. And potentially, with a wild card still in hand, can I afford to punt on him for the next 3 weeks? I suppose essentially is West Ham away, Stoke and Sunderland at home better than Costa, who's got Stoke away, Palace at home, and City at home? Maybe it is, especially when, like you said, Costa doesn't get the double-figure hauls much. But if Costa does go big, then it's going to hurt my rank. So I'm kind of in two minds, but yeah, Vardy is what I'm looking at. I don't know what you guys think about him.
The beauty of Costa is you can kind of ignore him and you're not scared. And I've said this before, I think John T has as well. He's not a player who scares you. Not in the bracket as Ibrahimovic, certainly not in the bracket of Lukaku and Kane, who if you don't have for a good fixture, you go, oh, that's going to cost me. Whereas Costa, you're going, yeah, he's going to get 6 to 9 points, but I'll take that. I'll take that if I can cover it with a cheaper player who will get a similar score, which can happen. So Vardy's interesting though. Yeah, it's just. I know,
literally,
it's going to be a maverick move.
Yeah, I said this in I think the last ScoutCast. As soon as he scored against, was it Liverpool? Who did he score against? 2 goals. Did he get 2 goals recently?
Liverpool.
Yeah,
it was Liverpool, right? Yeah. As soon as he did that, I checked the fixtures and I eyed up these 3, and they've looked pretty good since. And like I said, I watched most of the Sevilla match tonight. So yeah, I am tempted, but. I don't know. I was the one that said I'm not scared of Costa. I've not owned him all season, so I just wonder whether I just stick to that.
Same here. I had him for 1 week.
Can I make a quick point about Costa? Because every time I come on here, I seem to bang the Costa drum. I've been saying he's going to win the Golden Boot every time I come on here. I stand by it.
He might do now.
I just think it's a funny. You say he's not explosive, but 3-6 points are still the same as an 18 point from a player. Like, okay, he doesn't give you the captaincy option. I've captained him once against Swansea after that, and that went okay, but that was mainly because I'd been on here saying how great he was, and I kind of had to see it through. But I like to have him in my team because it's nice to have a striker who is as consistent as him, and for all of his lack of explosiveness, he's consistent. He's one of the most consistent players in the game, and so many people still overlook him. And yeah, I think he's a great striker.
I agree. Like I said, this is what I said last week: is that I'm not scared of him in a single game week. So if it's him against someone else, then I'm not worried about not having him. But over a course of a few game weeks, then he can do damage. The only reason I'm not necessarily looking at him now is because we're getting towards the end of the season. It's more hope than think it would actually happen. Yeah. Maybe Vardy can explode 2 out of 3 games and will score more. whereas Costa maybe won't do that. But yeah, I agree. He'll score points over the next 3. He'll probably score 3 goals. So he's a good option.
I think now Kane's out of the picture, it's different. But when you've got Kane and Lukaku and Ibrahimovic, and then third striker options like Gabbiadini, Costa is down the pecking order. But now, without Kane there, he is the safe option to go to. You're almost guaranteeing yourself a goal a game situation. Over 4 matches, he'll get you 3 goals probably.
Are you all going to hold on to Lukaku? He's got 2 rough games after Hull, and he's turned down that contract.
This is it. So we're talking about Sanchez. Jonty, what do you make of the Lukaku situation? He's turned down a contract. Is there going to be issues here?
No, I don't. I mean, they'll want him to keep playing. Everton want to get as high as they can. They'll put that to one side, and if it's still rumbling on at the end of the season, they'll sell him over the summer and get absolutely loads of money for him. But I don't think at the moment it's a problem. I don't think his commitment scoring for Everton is any less. This has been going on for weeks now, this contract discussion, so it hasn't affected him so far. It's been wonderful. So I think he's captain material this weekend against Hull. But yes, then it's Liverpool away and Manchester United away. And I don't fancy his chances of doing too well in those 2 games. But then he's got that Leicester Burnley. So if I found myself with transfers to spare or I was wild carding, I would be perhaps tempted to get someone else in for those 2 matches and then maybe get him back in. I mean, I've been swapping Lukaku in and out for a little while now, and it hasn't really harmed. Because he is the anti-troll. People think of him, troll-Lukaku, but he's not at all. He really does score very well against these weaker teams at home. And then the tougher teams, he's not so great against. So, yes, he did score at Spurs, but that's it, 6 points. I'm not particularly, it's like with Costa, I'm not particularly worried about a player getting 6 points. I am worried that, when they're going to get 4 goals against Bournemouth at home, that type of thing.
I do think, though, the contract thing, inevitably now it's going to lead to a massive circus of speculation. And he's going to be, every question that Koeman's going to get for the next 2 or 3 weeks will be about Lukaku, what's going to happen next. And there'll be papers that just be, Chelsea in for him. And so there's going to be a circus. It's whether or not that
he's young as well. Everyone forgets how young he is. He could always, like do a Sterling, get his head turned.
So I am a little bit worried. It's an unwelcome development, put it that way, because Everton looks so good, Lukaku looks so good. We really could have done without this right at this moment. Now, even if you go, well, it's not going to affect him at all, I still think it's unwanted, and it's not a reason to sell him. It's not a reason to lose faith of him for the captaincy against Hull, but it's something we've got to watch, I think, to see if it's going to affect Everton's confidence, their morale a bit. I don't know. We have to see. Koeman is going to get tired of it. He already is. Every press conference he's asked about the contract. Now it's going to be, well, what's going to happen next? It's we'll see. Let's talk about Spurs players, because obviously with Kane out the equation now, are we looking at Son? Because he was a player who came in earlier in the season for him, did all right, 2 goals and an assist, I believe. Hat-trick on Sunday. Is it as simple as now he's an option? We've got some questions on this, Jonty.
Yeah. AA33 asks if Kane is out long term, which we know he now is. Will Son be a secured starter? And if Janssen, yes, I would imagine so. And then he's 6.8 million. So he's playing out of position. FPL Gold, he declares him to be. There's a few warnings, I think. So yes, as you pointed out correctly, when Kane was last absent, game week 6 to 10, over that time, Son was the best performer. 2 goals and an assist. Ali got 2 goals. That's good. Eriksen only got 1 assist. Eriksen was in poorer form. I think it's a different Eriksen now. So, but nevertheless, it's an interesting little guide there. In terms of looking over the last 4 matches, Son hasn't really played that much, so it's hard to tell. But then looking at his schedule coming up. Now, this is one of our posts is individual. Now, this is the bit that worries me a little bit. So yes, he's got Tottenham. He's got Southampton at home. Then it's an international break, so he plays for South Korea. So that's lots and lots of air miles. He's suspended for the first of South Korea's matches against China, but he plays for the next one against Syria on the 28th of March. So, but he's still traveling with the squad. So air miles, training, all of those things, he's still doing it. So 28th of March, he's South Korea hosting Syria, and then the 1st of April, so only a few days later, off he goes to face Tom Heaton over at Turf Moor and Burnley. Now, Burnley at home are tricky customers. I just don't think that's an ideal situation for him. Then Tottenham away to Swansea afterwards. So I just worry whether he'll play and start against Burnley. and even if he does, I'm not convinced that he'll do that well. So that's my issue with him. But you can't deny he's got the immediate form, and you can't deny that when Kane's out, he's more than happy to step up.
It's a shame, isn't it? Without the international break, I think it would be straightforward. 3 or 4 weeks, you could look to Son, I think. How do we think it's going to affect Eriksen and Ali? Do we see it as a positive thing, or is there going to be any impact at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think I personally think the Tottenham midfielder we get in, I think everyone needs one with their run because it's completely ridiculous. I mean, it's just insane. The next 5 games, you've got the midfielder playing out of position. You've got Ali with the goal threat, and you've got Eriksen with the corners and the free kicks. So I think everyone kind of lies in a different camp of who they think is the best kind of FPL player. So I think you're going to get this real sort of 3-way split of people of what they go to. Ali's kind of playing in a new position now, isn't he? So it'd be interesting whether he stays kind of. So he's almost playing as a striker, isn't he? And I don't think he was doing that when Son was last in the team. So it might be that Ali stays the furthest forward and Son kind of drifts behind him. So maybe Son's output will be a little bit lower based on that. So I personally think Ali's still the best option. So yeah, but Son is tempting, but it just depends how long Kane's out for. Because if he's out for 3 or 4 weeks, then the international break, he's kind of straight back in. If he's out for 7 or 8 weeks, it might be a bit different.
Andy, your views on this? I mean, I'm in the Eriksen camp still, but Ali worries me, and he might be time to double up again. I'm looking at it. If I don't go Sanchez, it might be Ali coming in as well. Andy, your views on Spurs mids?
Yeah, kind of what I said at the end there. It really is going to depend on how long Kane's out for, because if it isn't as long as we originally thought, then obviously Son's going to be a transfer you're going to have to make again later down the line, and I don't think I want to be doing that. So I still like Ali. I've kind of gone back and forth between Ali and Eriksen. I generally come back to Ali just because I think he's always going to be the one that scores goals. I just think that's a bit more exciting, even if long term it doesn't necessarily get you as many points. But yeah, I think Ali for me. But I mean, Son has to be a good punt, like Johnny says. Like I wouldn't argue against anyone getting him in. 6.8 million. It's a very low risk punt as well. You're not spending like Sanchez money to bring him in, and they got very good fixtures. I think he's going to play even with the long travel. So I think Son or Ali is good fit.
Yeah, I must say it is tempting because I mean the thing is, knowing that we've got the wild card to come later on. Sorry, but most of us have got the wild card to come later on. You can afford to take a few 2 to 3 week punts maybe, and Vardy being one, Son being another. Knowing that once we know about double game weeks, then we're going to book the wild card in, and you can start then, planning your transfers between then and the wild card and go, okay, I can take a few risks here. So it's kind of a nice period, and these players could drop in for that, depending, like you say, if Kane is out for a long time. John T, I mean, what are you doing? Ali, Eriksen, where are you? What camp do you sit in?
Yeah, well, I've always been more pro Ali. It just seems. I think he's be the one that's going to step up more goal scoring. So if you look, looking at the stats, and also the eye test is important here as well. He is often the most furthest forward. He makes those runs in. He's the one that wants to score. Eriksen's the one that wants to set up the goals. Eriksen, as the stats show, last 4 matches, 15 chances created. Wowzers. Ali just 4. But then you hop over shots in the box. You got 7 from Ali there, 5 on target. So he's getting lethal as well. And then Eriksen is just down to 2 shots on target and 4 inside the box. So you can see the big difference there. If I'm going to, my transfer move, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, Ali and for Coutinho is the one that's been at the back of my mind for all week. Since Kane got injured. It just feels right, I think. Ali just looks. He was being interviewed after the Millwall match, and he seemed so mature about that we're going to step up. Harry's out. We're going to step up. It's up to us to keep scoring the goals. And the way they pummeled Millwall as well. I know, the Championship side, but they could have easily just won 2 or 3-0. Just wasn't enough. They thought, let's go for it. So because of their fixtures, as soon as they come against a team, who looks a bit injured, they're going to smell blood, and Dele Alli's just going to go for it.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's the opposite to Arsenal, I think. I think the spirit in the Spurs camp, you can't knock it. It's one of the reasons why Chelsea have done so well, I think, is because Conte's got the spirit up and he's maintained it. And obviously they've been lucky with injuries. Spurs not so fortunate with injuries, but they've got the same team spirit. It just feels like they'll find a way to win matches until Kane is back, I think.
They've got everything. Right. They've got the form, they've got the fixtures, and they've got the team spirit. It's the perfect
I don't think there's as
trilogy.
I don't think there's as much pressure on them as last year either, because obviously Leicester are at the top, and no matter how many games they seem to have left, we always thought that someone could pip them to the post, and that team was looking like Spurs, and obviously they bottled it in the end, whereas this time around, I don't think anyone, including themselves, are expecting them to catch Chelsea. So I think there's a bit of pressure off this season now. Just go for it and beat Arsenal, maybe.
Also, penalties are up in the air at the moment. So Kane's gone. Lamella's next. Many people think it'll be Son. I believe he has taken one, but missed it. But I'm sure people will correct me on that. Eriksen is hopeless at penalties. He hasn't taken one for Spurs, but he keeps missing them for Denmark. And Ali apparently I'm looking into it, apparently took a corker of a penalty in training. So we don't know there. It's basically up for grabs. We don't know. So it'll be really interesting to find out. But
that would be, yeah.
But Janssen probably. But it's hard to tell because Janssen took a penalty, but it's more like a pity penalty. You know, it's like, oh, you haven't scored, have a penalty. And, so we don't know whether he's actually on penalties because he's got no pity now.
You'd have thought Eriksen could take a penalty, couldn't you?
He's taken three for Denmark, missed 2, hopeless. So
right,
if you've got Eriksen,
and
they say, and Eriksen stepping up to take a penalty, just turn off the radio, turn off the TV.
I reckon they're with Christian Eriksen. I'd have thought if I was looking at who they got.
I don't understand, but he's never taken one for Spurs, and he's hopeless when he has for Denmark. So I can't see any evidence. Just it would be Eriksen. It could be, but it's more likely to. That could be anyone. I mean, I think it'll be. I think. If I was to make a bet, it'd be Son, I think.
Yeah, well, that's another factor, isn't it? See, this is it. You know, it's another factor. You're right, because he had that fight, didn't he, over the penalty? Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, he had that little ruckus with Lamela, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, so...
Do we think Janssen's going to be a factor on Son as well? Because do you think... I mean, I can't see Janssen starting, but it could be Son gets 60, 70 minutes and comes off for Janssen.
Yeah, he's going to get that. I think that's going to be... I mean, he's got to give Janssen some time, hasn't he? But... Son could still warrant 6.8 in an hour, couldn't he? Hour 70 minutes. So difficult one. Let's talk wildcards. Come on then, let's talk about lots of questions on this, John T. Tell the story of what happened on the site this week.
Yeah, well, basically, we started a discussion about wildcards. When to wildcard. Quite simple, really. And one of the views that a lot of people have got, myself included, last week was. Game week 37 is definitely going to be an absolute huge double game week. So it makes sense to wildcard in game week 36 to really load up on that and play your bench boost. But also because as people like myself have found out with the likes of Stanislas and Phillips, you can't plan for that too far ahead because some of those players aren't going to work out. And so since you kind of potentially wasted a wildcard there, that was my thinking. But then more and more people were starting to wade into the debate and some very good views, and my mind's been turned really, and it might be more profitable, especially for a player like me that does like to plan, in that using the wildcard once we know when the other double game weeks are, and using that wildcard to set yourself up for the remaining games of the season with some vague transfers in mind, but also planning for those immediate double game weeks as well. So there's other people that have started almost kind of doing that now because we kind of know some of we know that Southampton and Arsenal are going to play 2 double game weeks. So they're going to be outside of that double game week 37. So we already know that it's probably worthwhile getting Gabbiadini in. If you're going to wildcard now, stock up on a couple of Southampton players and stock up on the likes of Sanchez. Sanchez is tough to get in. So wildcard's a great time to elbow him in. But then there's other people like Azza just use it when they thought, well, look, my team's no good now. I'm going to use it now. So, I mean, I think over to Az on this because he's already used his wild card, but I understand it's been very successful so far.
Yeah, so I kept 2 players out of 15 when I wildcarded in game week 27, and I just kept Costa and Sigurdsson, and I did a quick calculation. I sort of look back on it, kind of deal or no deal style, about what I would have done if I hadn't played the wild card and things. And I worked out it's got me about 60, 70 points extra on what I would have had. There's no way you'd get that from if you got that from a bench boost after wild card, that you'd be made up with that. And I'm in a much better position. I got my 2 free transfers saved. I had a plan with it. That was the key thing. I didn't just wild card and get in good players for 1 or 2 weeks. I got in players who I knew I could swap out quite easily and build a good team past the blanks and get in my City players. And there was a kind of a thought behind it. And I think that's the key thing. Is it's great to save the wild card for these big double game weeks if your team's good enough to carry you through to those double game weeks. Because if you're going through to that double game week and you end up ranked, no offense, John T, 800,000, 900,000, it hasn't worked. So you get a big boost for the double game week, and you go up to 500,000, but you could have done so much better if you wildcarded earlier. So it's about using it when it's best for your team.
Yeah, I mean the thing about playing the wildcard 36 is you've only got 2 weeks to have an impact. Whereas I look at my season, my wildcard wasn't great for the first couple of weeks, but it definitely did. It chimed all the way through the next 6 to 8 game weeks, and it set me up. And so playing it now, or playing it earlier than 37, you'll definitely get more of a benefit from it if you play it well. But it does depend, doesn't it? It does depend if you look at your team and go, well, that's broken, I need to make changes, and it's going to be a lot of hits, or I play the wild card. It makes sense, and that's the situation you were in. I mean, Az, just explain, what state was your team in when you decided to play it?
It was bad. I had Stanislas, I had Holgate, I had Phillips. I didn't have Lukaku, I didn't have Mane. I was already on a -12, before I played it, and that was before the Man City games even got announced, the doubles. That was the real reason why I decided to do it, was because of that. So yeah, it wasn't just poor. It was poor. It was a combination of players who weren't performing and players who weren't starting. Kind of the worst balance you could have. So yeah, and players like Benteke, who I just kept for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I always had players who I thought were worse, because it was a mess, and it sorted out the mess in the best way it could have done. And I've gone from 200,000 in the world to 66,000 over that course. So yeah,
that's a big success story. So what are your thoughts on 37 then? So you're just now going to plan carefully and start? Yeah,
I'm going to bring in players with the doubles, bring in Gabbiadini, bring in Sanchez, bring in Ibrahimovic when his band's back, get in the big names, and then I'll have them anyway. It just kind of I just thought I've got enough time to plan for them, even if I wildcard early, and that was the key thing. The longer you leave it, the less time you've got to plan, I guess.
Andy, is this swaying you at all?
Yeah, I mean, I know some people are looking at it like this week or next week. I think that's probably a little bit too early for me, but I don't think I'm going to hold it until 36 anymore, because I just don't know how much value the bench boosters really got to make it worthwhile saving it, like you said, to then only have a couple of weeks benefit. So I'm looking now towards something like game week 34, which is when the first lot of big double game weeks will be. And obviously the difference with last year is we had to do it in 33 because of the triple captain, whereas I've already used that now, so I don't need to worry about kind of setting that up as well. So I'm looking towards something like game week 34, getting the most for that double game week, and obviously then having a bit of a plan for game week 37. But I wouldn't rule out doing it earlier than that. Once we know the double game weeks, I think then it's a bigger question of whether you should just do it there or then. Obviously, it depends on your team. Like for my team, for example, there's players I'd love to get rid of: Brunt, Funes Mori, and Peter Crouch, I suppose. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the core of my team, so I don't feel a huge need to use it right now. But I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't say it's an absolute must to save it till game week 36.
No, it's fair. I mean, it's very interesting. I think when we can see the double game weeks in front of us, when we see the landscape we've got to play on, then when we can plan it, I just think it's convenient saying I'm going to play it in 36 for the bench boost in 37 at the moment. But yeah, I think when I look at the double game weeks and start thinking, I'm a bit short on those players for 34 or whenever they're going to drop. It won't be 34. I think it'll be, they'll probably be 32, 33, 35 maybe. We don't know yet. But that's going to change everything. I think everyone's plans are going to change at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting debate. John, where are you sitting at the moment with it? Are you early as well, 34?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it depends on when the double game weeks are announced. So it's looking like, because so many, the way it's panned out this season, there's so many Premier League teams involved with the semi-finals, as you would expect. But they're good sides as well. These are sides you want to be getting. So the semi-finals of the FA Cup coincide with game week 34. So any rescheduled games from the blanks into there, essentially going to be not going to make it a double game week. It's just going to be a single game week. So on paper, it'll just be that single game week. So it's those other ones as well. It's where are these other games going to fit in? And once you know that, then then I'll be looking to wildcard because I'll be known to plan. It's whenever they're announced, really, and it depends. The first game week back after the international break is notoriously hard to predict because of rotation and things. So I possibly don't think that's the best time. It's quite a good time at the beginning of the season because you can build team value then. But this stage of the season, whatever team value you've got, I mean, you're not going to make drastic team value changes at this time. Unless you're desperate for that 0.1.
I cheer every 0.1. I'm deeply insulted by that.
Yeah.
That's exactly me on a Sunday morning. Ooh, 0.1, brilliant. Okay, let's move on.
Has my webcam gone?
It has
disappeared. Has he turned down the lights?
We can still hear you though.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
We just can't see you. So.
I don't know what's happened to it. It's just disappeared.
Well, we can hear you. That's the most important. I mean, it's great to look on your beardy face, but we can do about it. It'll be fine. Okay, let's move on to the weekend preview then. Let's talk clean sheets, fancy on this, captains and transfers. This is what it's all about. We've got a full fixture list, John T. Look at this.
Oh, so exciting. I think, it was just the Everton last week, so he did us proud. But obviously one of us picked that one. Because we had so few to pick. But yeah, I've got a full fixture list. So I mean, let's go to Az first because he's the guest tonight. So let him pick first.
Is he there?
Is he there?
No, he's gone.
Oh no, he's gone.
I'm here.
Oh, no,
my laptop's being very strange at the moment.
Okay.
I don't really understand what's going on. So
we'll quickly come to you then. Are you still there? Yeah,
I'm
we'll quickly come
yep.
to you to tell us where you think a clean sheet will come this weekend.
Clean sheet. Well, I'm probably going to be bringing in Gabbiadini. Tottenham will probably be my pick, but I'm going to back Gabbiadini to score in that. So I'm going to stick with Everton. I can't see whole scoring against them. So I've got Ashley Williams, so I'll be happy with a clean sheet from him.
Yeah, not a bad pick, I think. The Everton one, they did us proud. They did us proud in the small game week. So yeah, decent option. Okay, Andy, what's your pick?
I'll take Man United against Borough. I'm a little bit worried about Europe and maybe they'll nick a goal against us, but I think generally they're not very good at scoring goals, and Mourinho is quite good at not conceding goals. So I think that's a good one.
They're going to go down, aren't they? They just can't. I mean,
yeah, they're just not going to score enough.
I mean, when you need a striker, you go and get Rudy Gestede as your option, your solution. It's just, I feel sorry for him because he tried to keep them up by being tight as a drum and nick a goal in there, but it's just not worked. And now I don't think they can get out of it. So yeah, that looks good. John T, yourself.
I'm here for Chelsea away to Stoke. I mean, Stoke don't concede much, by the way. So for those getting Costa in, yes, he might score that one goal, but I'm not sure there's going to be a tremendous amount of goals there. I think that's going to be Chelsea 1-2-0.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't kept the clean sheet for 5. We're due one, aren't we, really? So that would be nice. And Az is back.
I'm back.
There's the beard. Yeah, so I'll pick one. I'll go for Palace. Should we go for Palace? A hat-trick of clean sheets, maybe? Big Sam knows what he's doing now, doesn't he?
When we said that Dini was an option just a minute ago.
What's that?
Did you say Dini was an option?
I think Dini is going to score.
Yeah. You think Dini's going to score 8?
Dini is the man in form who's just dipped so far under the radar. He's subterranean, but wow, he's got 4 big chances. So he's had the same amount of big chances as Aguero and Ibrahimovic over the last 4. But he's doing 3 goals in the last 4 matches. Yeah,
but I look at what's left. I could go Spurs, but I don't want that. I'm not going to go City. Bournemouth, no, there'll be goals in that. West Ham, no, goals in that. Sunderland, will they concede?
I think it was quite hard to pick 4 this week, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Palace, I think Van Aanholt's been their best player. And I think without him, I know he's not known for his defensive abilities, but I think it's going to throw the team a little. I understand he's still out with injury. So, I don't know, I just think they'll knock him a bit out of sorts. And Dini, that form.
They got another
Watford,
15
Watford
million.
clean sheet is probably possible.
They got another £15 million left back to come in Jeffrey Schlupp. So I did wonder why he signed 2 left backs, very, very similar players, for the sum of 30 million. Now
He's
we know.
Psychic.
Yeah, he knew he'd lose one. But I guess Sacco's made a difference for them, and I just think they're in the habit now. Watford, yeah, I don't know. They're a funny team, aren't they? Are they on their holidays yet? I guess they're still in danger a little bit. So I don't know. I think 1-0 Palace there. I'll go for that. Fancy on and risks. As you first.
I'm going to go for Andre Ayew, who has. Well, I've got Snodgrass, who he's been awful. Just one of the worst transfers ever. In fact, on the last Scoutcast, I said not to go for any West Ham players, and then I went for Snodgrass, and yeah, I kind of asked for that. But I think Ayew's going to take his place, and he's looked quite good when he's been on. And they're playing Leicester, who might, kind of be a bit hungover from tonight's celebration, so he could do all right against them.
No, I think that's a good pick. He's due a start because he's done well when he's come off the bench, hasn't he?
I think he'll definitely start for the weekend.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see what team he puts out. Andy, your risk.
Yeah, back to the Palace-Watford game. I'm going to go for Benteke. Can I get away with that?
Jonty's eyebrows went up.
No, not in terms of he's too good. No, I think that's almost
too risky.
That's too risky.
Yeah. No, I think it's
all right. Good fancy on risk.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go that game as well, and this is going to make your eyebrows just shoot off your face. And Josh Townsend. Look at that. What do you think of that? The stats are good. He's done well. He scored that wonder goal of the season contender at West Brom. I always liked Townsend. I always look for an excuse to get him in, but I like Zaha as well. But I'll go Townsend. I think his tail is up, and I think Palace will win that game. May not be too many goals in it, but I think Townsend might be the player to watch. So I'll go him. That's definitely a risk. Jonty, your risk?
I'm looking at that West Ham Leicester game. Basically, in a West Ham game, it's goals. Everyone's going to score in that game, and so I'm going to go for a Leicester defender, even though I think they're going to concede, because I just think he's going to get some assists and he could even score. I think there'll be a lot of space at that big London Stadium pitch, and he's got a goal and an assist in his last 4. He's doing pretty well. He's got a couple of shots on target, 5 chances created. So he's up there with the kind of Valencias and Kleins, but because it's a risk, there we go.
Yeah, you love your Christian Fuchs, don't you? I mean, when we were talking about Jamie Vardy and his fixtures, you were just thinking Fuchs. That's his.
Jamie Vardy, this is price. Jamie Vardy. I know we shouldn't be thinking about prices, but if you're going to get a 9 million, I'm just not sure he's a 9 million. I could prove me wrong. No, I think Vardy's a good choice. He just seems a bit too pricey for what he is.
No, he is. No,
but Fuchs, I think, is just about right.
Okay, captains and transfers. Let's go to you first, Az. What are you going to do? Your wild card, surely you got 2 free transfers. You got plenty of options.
Yeah, I've got to get rid of Kane because I've enjoyed his 5 goals over the last couple of games, and he's done well. But it's a shame because I thought everyone would have to waste a transfer getting in Kane, so that's kind of annoying because now I've got to use a transfer getting rid of him, so it's kind of not worked out very well. But yes, Kane's definitely going to go. I've got to get rid of Snodgrass as well. So they're going to be my 2 sort of frees. I'm either going to get Costa and Son, and see what Son can do over the next few weeks, or I'm going to get Gabbiadini and Ali, and I'm leaning towards that one because I think Ali is probably the most important player to get at the moment with their fixtures coming up.
Okay, some wise words there, I think.
Yeah, and I'm going to captain Lukaku because he's got strong home form, and I think they're going to batter Hull.
You're not buying into this. There could be issues with the contract thing. You just think, sake that.
I'm a bit worried about it, but I'm not gonna. I think, like Jonty said, it's been going on for ages, and if anything, the fallout's going to come after this match because it's going to be the press conference after the match where things could go wrong. If he doesn't score, they could be saying, where's the problems? If he does score, they'll be saying, can you keep him? So yeah, I think he's got this whole match, and then I might be looking to get rid of him after that because he's got some rough games, but fixture's too good to ignore, I think.
Okay, Andy, transfers and captain.
Yeah, so like I said, I did Aguero to Carroll. I don't like him in my team, even though Leicester's probably an okay fixture. So I'm actually looking at getting rid of 2 players I bought in this week, which would be Coutinho and Carroll. And so the 2 players I don't necessarily have to get rid of, but I just want to. So I can actually afford Costa and Sanchez for those 2, which is pretty tempted. Like that would really just kind of.
That's nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's a tempter, but I'm also tempted to get Vardy in a Spurs mid. So I don't know. Those 2 players will probably go. I just haven't decided exactly who for. I'm tempted by Sanchez. Even if I bring Sanchez in, though, I probably won't captain him, which kind of tells me a little bit about whether I really think he's worth that much money. If I'm not even going to consider captaining him.
Would that be for a hit, Andy?
It would be for a hit, yeah. Again, I don't know if a hit's worth it, but I'm always feel like I want to get rid of him so I feel better about my team. I just think if I have Costa and Sanchez sat there instead of Carroll and Coutinho, I just feel like my team is a lot better, and it's kind of set for a few weeks. But yeah, those two will be out, and I'll be captaining. Like I say, even if I bring Sanchez in, I don't think I'm going to captain him. I'll go Lukaku again. Home form. Easy.
Yeah. No, fair enough. John, to yourself.
Yeah, Lukaku captain against Hull. Yeah, basically Lukaku at home against a lesser team. That's the time to captain him. As transfers, I don't know. The players I want are Valencia, Ali, and then it becomes a bit. Then I want Gabbiadini, but not quite yet. And then I kind of wouldn't mind Sanchez, but I'd like to wait and see. So I think it'll be Coutinho to Ali. But looking at the way Middlesbrough is set up, I think it's whether I give Charlie Daniels a last hurrah, because it's almost like a free hit to get Valencia in against Middlesbrough. If Middlesbrough can't score, it's something written into their players' contracts at the moment. They just refuse to score. So I know that Valencia will get me 6 points against Middlesbrough. So that's tempting.
Yeah. Also, you know that Valencia's got two more matches, so even if you're getting some of that back later. He's going to play.
But I don't know what it is. This weird thing in fantasy Premier League management where you kind of have this kind of odd loyalty. It's like this is like Charlie Daniels' like going away party. It's like his leaving do for me. So I feel I ought to play him because it's a nice, easy home game.
Will you be like having videos of his?
And he looked quite good. He almost got me a couple of assists.
Oh, he looked very good. Yeah,
very good. But it would be like getting rid of. It's like sacking someone who's about to have a leaving do and just outside. We're just going to cancel that party now. So I just feel a loyalty to a man I have never met.
He's a very nice man, I've heard. But yeah, I know what you mean. And the thing is, he could be on penalties. I don't want to put a seed of doubt in anyone, but
it's my dream.
With King missing,
if you were to part my team with a penalty, that would be
a parting shot.
My dream player.
Yeah. Well, okay. And the captain Lukaku, as you say, me, yeah, Coutinho to Ali looks tempting. Doubling on the Spurs midfield though with no Kane, I'm worried about. Southampton at home, it's a good fixture, I guess. They are conceding goals. My alternative would be very boring and get rid of Finners Mori for Ben Davis as a placeholder until Rose comes back or until I start shopping for double game week players. Valencia is an option as well because I think I'm going to want him. For me, he's the one United defender who's going to play in a double game week both matches, and he started to get assists and he's got Boa. But it's whether I think the Sanchez decision is crucial for me because I've got the money. In a couple of weeks' time, I can get Sanchez in without taking a hit. But what I do now will decide whether I can do that. So I've got to weigh up Sanchez really, whether I'm going to want him in a couple of weeks or I can leave it until the double game weeks are out and I know the lay of the land. So it's really tough. It's really tough, and we're at the sharp end now, and every decision counts. So it's tough. On captain, I guess it'll have to be Lukaku. I kind of want an excuse not to give it to him. But I can't see beyond it. And I played save last week and it was the right decision. It turned out to be the right decision. Even though I was tempted by Mane and Coutinho, I went Lukaku. And I guess we can't look beyond him. So it's a bit boring. We're all going Lukaku and we all fancy Dele Alli by the sound of it as well. So yeah, is another template? No, there's no template. Of course there's no template. Okay, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have you on the Scoutcast as usual. Thank you very much again for stepping in, Az. It's always wonderful to see your smiley face, and thanks for the tour of your house. That was very interesting. Johnson?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's my laptop was like 1%, so I had to quickly run downstairs. And
that was like being with an estate agent. Are you only a stone's throw from the local amenities? I hear.
No one mentioned it. It was very professional.
No, yeah,
I thought I got away with it.
No, not at all. Andy, thanks for joining us as usual. Thanks so much for contributions. And John T, yourself with the rough of the smooth and the community questions as always. Thanks for listening. Well, will we see you next week, John T? We do one next week. It's international break, isn't it? Probably not.
No, not next week.
We'll have a week off.
We'll have a week off, and then we'll be back again. We'll assess the air miles then.
Yeah, assessing the air miles, and who knows? We may have the double game weeks at that point. We may have the evidence in front of us. Then we can really start procrastinating. God help us. It's a good night from me.
Good night from me.
Good night from me.
Good night from me.
Good night, all.